So I really think Ryan Murphy and the rest of the writers of Scream Queens have been listening to us because, oh my god, this episode and last week's were so much better and they were so much more like season 1, and that makes me really happy and hopeful for the next 2 episodes. So we knew that Wes was coming back and he had a major role in this episode, and he claimed that he had like this tumor which ended up being this giant hairball. He did have that, but he said that he had been like super stressed and eating his hair, picking out his own hair and eating it, which was very gross. But later in the episode, we learned that he actually paid a hairdresser to take like all the hair clippings and a bunch of other stuff and eat it. So that is so freaking disgusting. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It was interesting. So he first says that Grace is going to Stanford, which was her dream. And I loved all the mentions of Grace. And yes, I absolutely do think that she is going to come back, at least make an appearance. But I think it's going to be more than that. But we find out later that she's in the Stanford mental institution because all the stuff that went on with the Chanels and everything that happened in season 1 has driven her insane. So I was thinking that the dean was probably going to end up being our third green meanie. But after this episode, so many of you had commented and hoped and wanted Grace to be the third green meanie. And I definitely think that's like a 90% possibility at this point. One of the big clues we got in this episode was the fact that Wes and the dean were like in bed together and got attacked by a green meanie, and he was like, it must be somebody who doesn't want us together. And really, who else would it be? She thought it was Dr. Brock, but it's not him. I mean, it has to be Grace because she definitely didn't want them being together. My only question now is, considering he's insane and he killed Chamberlain at the end of this episode, which was quite shocking actually, do you think that they are together, like sharing this third costume that they bought from the costume man? Like, are they sometimes one of them's killing and sometimes the other's killing, or is it all her and he's like the mastermind behind it? But I really do think this is going to be our conclusion for this season, and I'm really happy with that because I didn't want it to be Hester again. Although I do think she plays a role in this when she has said like from the beginning of the season she knew who the killer was. I do think she's kind of been corresponding with Wes and Grace and filling them in on what's going on and encouraging them. And I think she was telling the truth because that just sounds like something that she would do. I loved the comedy in this episode. The references to Snapchat were amazing, even using the dog filter. The Spotify reference was very funny. I thought that Dr. Brock was really funny in this episode. I felt bad for Zayday because once again, she is kidnapped and tied up by that crazy woman this time. I don't think she's gonna die, but I do think a lot of the cast will die, and I think it's going to be like the famous people they introduced this season, like Kirstie Alley and Taylor, and John Stamos, and now Christy Brinkley is going to be added next week, it looks like, so she's probably gonna die. I still don't really see them killing off the Chanels or Zayday or Hester. I could be wrong, but even if they do, I feel like it'll be a fake out and they'll come back to life. And I'm still waiting on Denise to come back, and I think it's a good chance she can come back to life next week. But if not, definitely the finale. Definitely don't think my girl is dead. But I just thought it was such a good episode. I felt really bad that Chamberlain died. I kind of liked this little romance he had going on with Zayday, and it was really sweet. So it sucks that he had to die. But again, he's kind of like a new character and they love to just kill off the new people. But I am interested to see who you think is the third green meanie. Just because Wes killed Chamberlain, I don't think they were trying to use that as a reveal as him being the green meanie, although I do think, as I said before, that he could be sharing that role with his daughter. So what do you think about that? What did you think about this episode in general, and who do you think will die in the next 2 episodes? Because the promo did say who survives, so I do think they have the potential of killing off quite a few people over the next 2 weeks, but I'm glad that this season has turned around. It is much better than it was pretty much all the rest of the season, so that makes me happy, and I think the next 2 episodes definitely could have potential. If you've been watching me and haven't subscribed, my Christmas wish kind of for this year is to get 6,000 subscribers, and I'm kind of close, so if you could help me out and subscribe and then hit the thumbs up, I would appreciate it. Whenever shows end, you don't need to unsubscribe. I've noticed some people doing that, because if you like that show and you like the commentary I do, I'm doing it again when it returns, so you can just, you know, stay and subscribed, and you don't have to watch it if it's a show that you don't like. But please don't leave just because Scream Queens ends, because season 3 I will definitely be back, and you might like some of the other shows I'm covering coming up. Well, Walking Dead ends in a week, so if you like Walking Dead, I'm covering Walking Dead, but How to Get Away with Murder returns in January, and Pretty Little Liars returns pretty soon, and I'm probably going to add a couple more shows at the beginning of the year, so stay tuned for that. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys real soon. Bye! Thank you so much for watching this episode of Kelly TV. I would love for you to subscribe and be a part of the Kelly TV family. Also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with all I'm doing.